Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I am OverHugs, and I would like to welcome you back to Building Bread. Thanks for choosing to join us on the adventure today. Today we are going to do something a little different. We are going to explore a bit of the world in order to find ourselves a stronghold. And strongholds are generally pretty large places that develop, usually within about 1,000 blocks of your spawn location, and they contain an end portal, which is the main thing that we're looking for with this. Now, let's talk about how we do that. So here we are in our storage room, and I wanted to give a brief view of some of the mob heads that we've collected while we've been going through the world. Again, this is a specific data pack, but it's a fun one. It's nice to have something else to collect and have some randomness in Minecraft to surprise you whenever you get it. The most changed one recently is this, which is the salmon head. Before, the colors were very different, and I'm pleased with it. I like the three-dimensionality it gives it. And you remember in our previous episode, we found the blaze head on camera, which was great. But that's not why we're here today. So, to find ourselves a stronghold, if we were just exploring randomly in the world, it would be fairly difficult because, as I said, it can be 1,000 blocks away from where you start in the world. Thankfully, there are items that can help us with this problem, where previously we crafted Eyes of Ender in order to build ourselves an Ender chest. And yeah, we can totally do that, but what we're here today is to show the other use of Eyes of Ender. So let's make a bunch of them. 9 should be sufficient for what we need. And if we go outside and we find ourselves a nice high location, like for example, let's just quickly pillar up onto our roof, we can see one of the other things that the Eye of Ender does. If we put it in our inventory and we use it, it floats up in the air in a specific direction. And that tells us where the stronghold is. We know it is in this direction, which is, if we look, using F3, is north. Basically, pretty northwest. So we definitely want to go northwest in our journey in order to try and discover it. And most of the time, you'll be able to reclaim your Eye of Ender. But as you saw, we accidentally used 2 there because of the lag in clicking it. I heard 2 distinct pings, and one of them broke, so we were unable to reclaim the second, but we were able to reclaim the first. So basically, what we need to do is just kind of go in this direction for a while. So let's get some stuff we need for our journey, and then get started. Okay, so we are looking vaguely northwest, as we know that that is where the Eye of Ender is leading us. And we've removed most of the stuff we don't need for our inventory. In addition, what we've brought is some extra wood, a crafting table, and a bed, because most likely we'll have to sleep as we're on our journey. So let's get started. And this is not exactly complicated. We're just going to go in this general direction for maybe a couple of 100 blocks in order to get another reading. So basically, the only way that you can find the stronghold, unless you're extraordinarily lucky, which has happened to me once, that I was playing a game where just dug down and happened to bump into one. Because much like when you're finding a zombie spawner, you find things that don't normally generate in the world, and we'll get an advancement when we discover the stronghold itself. So it becomes very obvious the second you walk into one. And we're going through this swamp here, which, if this was a little bit larger, I would make a boat, because traveling through swamps can be pretty difficult, especially when you hit large segments of water. This one doesn't seem that big, as we're already back into a different biome right now. But we'll go another, let's say 100 blocks and find a high point. That hill over there looked great. And then throw another Eye of Ender and see what happens. Alright, so this is perfect. We're at the top of a high area, and it's mostly level around us, except for over there in that really cool looking roof structure that generated. I'll have to remember this, because that could be interesting to build something in, like kind of fill that space, because you already have the natural frame that the world has become. So let's get our Eye of Ender and toss off another one and make sure we only do one this time. All right, and where is it? All right, over this way. Almost due north this time. So we've had a bit of a correction, which is actually a good thing because that means that it's not that far away. A good way to think about this is sides of a triangle. Like you're trying to figure out where it points to and taking these multiple readings in order to triangulate where the actual stronghold is. And we're going to keep course correcting. As we get closer and closer, the differences will be substantial to the point of where when we hit it, it will literally reverse direction when we pass by. And over here, we also see a really nice coral reef there. That's just beautiful. I do really appreciate some of the terrain generation in Minecraft. It can be amazing, and we will most definitely remember this because wow. Just take a minute and appreciate that. But we'll definitely need this further along because coral can be both a valuable block and the sea pickles that are causing it to be lit up like that are another thing that's great for a light source. As well as we'll need this for some of the contraptions, but that's another episode. Hello. All right, so we've reached as far as we can go on land, so let's take another reading and see if we're still going in the right direction. And we are. So this is why we brought, and you saw that the eye broke there. It just shattered and nothing fell. So we lost that one. But this is why we have the crafting table, because let's go ahead and make ourselves a boat. And head out. And we do have the luxury of basically being able to see this reef as we're going over it. And just the lighting and everything is great. This is when I really appreciate what they've done with lighting, and it makes me really want more because having colored lights and such in this would be fantastic. And this drowned here that's coming to visit us has a fishing rod, so we're going to hop out here and encourage them to give it to us and see if we can get anything. Drowned are one of the rarer mobs where when they have something and you see it, they have a chance to drop it. And this is where you will get things like tridents. Tridents are a weapon that has some interesting uses, but that too is another episode. Since we're here anyway, we're going to grab a couple of these sea pickles, and it's important to notice that we don't run out of air while we're doing this. You can see the little bubbles that form there that tell us how long before we start taking damage from being underwater. And that's probably enough. We can always set up a farm to get more sea pickles if we need to, but we won't be doing that today. Let's just continue our journey. Another thing to mention is that it was a really good sign that 2 of our readings in a row were pretty much due north. That means we're right in line with the stronghold itself, and it should be somewhere reasonably close by. So this shoreline looks a little dangerous, so I think what we'll do is we'll come over here where there aren't any mobs and toss down our bed and sleep. Alright, this looks clear, nothing's coming after us. And we can just toss down the bed and flip over to day. And what we're doing here is we're going to pick up our bed, and this is a little bit dangerous because if for some reason we died right now, we do not have a bed for a respawn point, so we will end up respawning back at the world origin. The world origin is also very close to where we've built our house, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it's something to keep in mind if you ever do it, like especially further along in the series, when we move our home to somewhere else in the world, we're going to respawn back at our house, which at this point is 800 meters away. So that's going to be a pretty long trip to come back here and get our stuff, and also just keep in mind, if you take your stuff from where the origin is and build somewhere else in this wonderful world, that's a long trip. All right, so let's go through and triangulate again. And still almost due north. And we get this one back and caught it. So now we're back on land. And let's go forward and see what we find. Which biome is this? This looks like is this a Tiaga? Hello, Mr. Skeleton. Yes, this is a Tiaga. So this is a little different. This is a biome we haven't seen yet so far in the series. And the reason I knew it was because of the spruce trees. The trees are very different from what we've seen when we saw all of our birch and all of our oak and dark oak. This is a much darker wood, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. I really enjoy the palette that can be built with this style of wood. And more often than not, I tend to build either in or right next to a Tiaga just because I like getting all the wood and I like the color. It's just a very, very lovely green. Not quite as cartoony as the green that you get if you're building in a mushroom island, but still very deep and foresty. So what we'll do here is, since we're here anyway, is grab a couple of saplings so that we can generate that. And these have the ability to grow in large varieties as well. And now we've hit another shoreline, so let's get somewhere that's a little clearer. Oh, this is interesting. Let's grab some of these too. These are sweet berries, and these generate naturally in this biome. And you can basically either destroy it or take the berry itself. So if we go after this with Silk Touch, we'll get the berry. If we go after this with Fortune, we'll also get the berry. You can go through, and once you get these, you can just plant them, and they can be planted like that, and they'll grow and eventually create the berries themselves, so it doesn't really matter what you get. But we've grabbed a couple, and that's enough to replenish our store once we get back. Berries are okay early food source, and you can use them for a couple of things, but they're not honestly tremendously useful. All right, so let's take another reading and see where we're going. Still due north. And we lost that one, unfortunately. But not a problem. We still have plenty. So let's move forward here. And that's interesting. It looks like there's something here that's lit up, and I don't quite know what that is. So let's take a look. This could just be something as simple as random sea pickle, or it could be something else interesting in the world. So we'll take a quick... Now, it's just sea pickles all over the place. That's unusual. You don't normally see sea pickles generating outside of being on coral. So I don't know why it is that way, but it is, and we'll appreciate it. We also have a ravine down here of sorts, and we'll just take a quick look through, and it doesn't look like this is anything necessarily special, although it has that interesting pillar generation. This is a single-player world, and I have not been here before, so definitely nothing else has been going on doing that. And let's continue our trip. So while I was going through and editing this, I realized that the footage got corrupted. It's gone. Sorry about that. And I feel really bad about that. So in an effort to try and make sure that we get the experience together, we're going to go through and recreate it, but I wanted to be upfront and honest about saying what happened and that I goofed. So let's go back and explore what we did in order to get down to this stronghold. So we threw a couple of Eyes of Ender, and I still have some, so I can show exactly how this happens, where we showed how we triangulated. So we know that it's over there because we dug. And so if I throw this eye, it's going to go directly over there, and we get it back, so that's great. And what we did is we ran in this direction and kept going and kept going and kept going, because at that point we didn't know where it was. And if we come and then turn around and toss it again, it's going to go again right next to the torches. I don't know where it went. I heard it. I know it's here. So in that vein, let's do a thing where we can show hitboxes, which is F3 and B. And F3 and B will show the hitboxes of anything. And I can show that right here with this egg, that it shows the hitbox of the item and we can pick it up and it vanishes, or the hitbox of the chicken, or the hitbox of the wolf. This is good for finding items when you can't quite see it, but you know it's in the area. And I think the eye broke, which is why we're not seeing it as an object, unless that's it over there, which it's not. That's a carrot that we got from fighting some zombies in the night. All right, so let's try that again, because it's still good to have the example, even though F3 and B is a very handy command to have for a variety of reasons, most of which we'll see in another episode. So let's throw this again, and you see it goes off, and we can track it a lot easier with the hitbox on, but it goes back in this direction as we would expect, since we originally triangulated to those torches. So I'll turn this off, again, by hitting F3 and B, and it shows hitboxes are now hidden. And let's go down into the tunnel we originally dug. And as we go down here, we had the luck of stumbling into a cave, which was great. That made our search so much easier. And as we wandered around, we started to see this, which is brick. Brick is very similar to finding a cobblestone around a monster spawner. This does not generate naturally in the world. The only time that you see things like this is when you're in structures, such as a stronghold. And we wandered around the stronghold, seeing some cool stuff, like the cells that are here. There was a creeper that had spawned in each one of them. And we had the wonderful moment of walking around here and realizing that the cell was open in the back. So the creeper decided to come and say hello, and that was the hello. Yeah. But we very quickly saw that this this stronghold was not very large. As we started and explored, it is almost all in this verticality right here, where we can hop down and pretty quickly find the center of the stronghold, which is this little well thing here. And most of these rooms were pretty empty. But as we went further and further down, we're actually finding stuff that I didn't originally explore. So maybe it's good that this happened. I see you. You're not hiding. So as we go down these stair objects, and we hear zombies breaking through the door, because again, we are playing on hard and they can do that. And half the stores in these strongholds are wood. And hi! Yep, that happens a lot. These are things that we always have to watch out for. And that's a great reason to have a shield. Shields can fully block creeper blasts, and quite frankly save your life more than once. So we're still exploring, and we've definitely been here before, and what we're trying to get down to... No. So this is a great example of some of the treasure chests that you can find in strongholds. And they will generate in random places very similar to abandoned mine shafts, which we have not seen yet in this series. And so that is definitely another episode. But these chests can contain anything from, at this point, iron's not very handy to us, all the way up to far better treasures like enchanted gear and even diamonds. So this is actually, I'm going to call this a good thing because we didn't find this before. This was all new that I missed during the initial search. So hopefully we'll be able to find some gear, and this... I'm going to be happy with this. I'm going to choose to see the bright side. That there is some stuff that we did not explore originally that we're getting to see now. That was a weird... Is that a bug or is that a rendering issue? That's a really weird rendering issue. That the lighting kind of shows up there. Huh, alright. And this looks like somewhere we've already been. And there's a lava source above there. I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but you can definitely tell whenever there's lava or water above you because you get these dripping particles. And we'll show fast that if I go through and I break this block, we'll get lava. So you saw from the light and immediately hearing the bubbling noises that was the case. I don't think we'll wait for it to drip down through because I, for one, don't want to be a kebab. But we can definitely show it with the water because that won't hurt us. If I break through this block here, which is then showing the water droplets, water is going to rush down. And we can go through and just stick our head up and see if there's anything interesting here, which there's not. It's a small cave, but interesting to know. And we'll go back down and seal off the water and continue our exploration of the stronghold. And finally, while exploring, we went down these sets of stairs, which led us to the goal of our stronghold here, the end portal. And the end portal has normally a spawner here of silverfish, which are very annoying, and we just broke because they don't really serve much of a point. They don't drop anything. Their experience is not wonderful, and they can go into bricks. Like, I'm not sure if any of these are infested bricks or not. You can generally, yeah, that's an infested brick. So I can show you a silverfish. If we go in and use a non-silk tool, when I break this, silverfish will appear. And silverfish are super, super annoying, as you can see. They're hard to hit, and also they drop nothing. But they can burrow into bricks, which is how we knew that one was there, because we could look and see that it was infested. And the thing that you can do is, if you ever don't want to fight them, but you need to remove it, and this is yet another reason to use it, is that Silk Touch will just mine the block up, infested or not. And it will not be an infested block when you place it, but it will just take care of the silverfish and you don't have to worry about it. So there was a spawner here, which we removed. And also, we found this with only one Eye of Ender in it. And that's what was missed in the corrupt footage. I apologize again for that. It definitely is not ideal. And I wanted to show it so we could experience it together. But you do what you can. Okay. So let's pick up our bed. And we do not need the rotten flesh, and we don't need the wheat seeds. So let's look around here and try and see if we can find the actual library itself. And these strongholds can be quite large. So this could be a decent amount of searching, depending on both the verticality of the stronghold itself, as well as how many chunks it's generated into. I've seen some that were extremely large. No. Bad creeper. No biscuit. All right, and here we go. Here is the library. So this is definitely not a large stronghold. And it is possible that the stronghold can generate with 2 libraries, which we might have, given that there is wood right here. So let's see. What is up here? No, this is just a chest with not much in it. Apples. We do need golden apples, so I will take them. I'm not going to complain. But this is not a great treasure chest, so let's hope the one in the library is a little bit better. And as we're walking into here, we see the actual library itself, filled with books and filled with cobwebs. And cobwebs are something that we want, so I'm going to take the time to use a Silk Touch tool in order to knock them down, and at least grab a couple. But here is the chest that we were talking about, and let's hope this is something good. And it's decent. Bane of Arthropods is not the best enchant. Sharpness 3 is a good enchant, but we already have Sharpness 4. And the books and the paper are not terrible either. So we'll take some of this. We can take the books. We'll take... I don't really need either of those enchants or a compass. So, and paper is something that we've got a lot of. So unfortunately this isn't great, but sometimes, and it looks like there's a second chest. So we just need to go up and find the ladder to the second floor. And that's a large lava lake. So let's go up, and we've got the other ladder here. And we do, I believe, we do have Silk Touch on our axe, which means that we could take some of these bookshelves. Like, they will harvest as the actual shelves themselves when you have that. And but we don't really need more bookshelves right now, so we'll leave that and remember that it's here for later. So let's see, second chest. Also not great. This stronghold has not been great for treasure, but that's okay. We were largely here just for the end portal itself. And that's largely the structures that you'll see within a stronghold. So now that we found everything there is, let's dig back and connect to our nether hub. So we'll make this too wide, both because it's easier to navigate and because we need the materials to really bridge over to the other section. And so we'll bridge over here as quickly as we can, holding shift in terror all the while so that we don't fall off into this very large lava lake. Okay, and we've come out to where our nether hub is. The elevation is a little bit off, so we'll just fix that in a different way, in that we'll bridge over here, and then we'll drop down. And now that we're safe, we'll actually attach it more over there, because that is where it naturally came out. And so for our final adventure in the Stronghold today, we're going to run back through our nether hub here and fully populate the portal to the end. Because the end is somewhere that we want to go relatively soon. But we're not ready to go through that portal until we are 100% ready, because as soon as you enter that portal, you have to fight the end dragon or die. And the End Dragon is one of the more difficult mobs in this game. The fight is fairly complex for a game like Minecraft. It is a multi-phase fight where you have to take out certain objects and then get the boss to descend and then fight the boss when it has descended. And it's not incredibly complicated if you're used to playing these kind of games, but for a sandbox game like Minecraft, it can be a little bit of an awakening, because it's definitely harder than anything that you've come up with before. And when we're going through, now that we're going through and we've made all the way through our hub to get back to the end portal itself, we have to fill each of the empty slots that is over here with an Eye of Ender. And this can, if you're really lucky, this can generate to where these are completely full, and you need 12 in order to fill it. So we've come with more than that, because I really need to build some more ender chests while I'm at it. But what we'll do is we'll fully power this up. And again, a great little noise. And when we place this final one, this portal will generate and it will go to the end. Boom. And this is just a really cool effect. Like, I don't get sick of seeing that. But now our portal is live. And if we jump through this, we would have to fight the dragon. And that is definitely another episode. So thank you once again for joining me on Building Bread. I have been OverHugs. And again, thank you for choosing to spend your time. And as a reminder, I donate all profits from this series to local food banks. So if you enjoyed or learned something today, or some other thing that made you want to see more, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and preferably tell a friend. Because in this day and age, we can all use a little bit of help. And since I can hear zombies desperately trying to break down the door to eat my face, I think we'll call it for a day. I hope you have the most fantastic of days, and I'll see you soon.